The morning of my best friend's baby shower was supposed to be perfect. I woke up smiling before my alarm even rang. For weeks, I had been counting down the days. After 6 long years of heartbreak, failed fertility treatments, and more tears than anyone should ever have to cry, my best friend, Emily Brooks, was finally expecting her first child. No one deserved this happiness more than she did. My name is Hannah Parker. I'm 34 years old, happily married to my husband, Ethan, and if you had asked me a week before the baby's shower what the strongest relationship in my life was, I wouldn't have hesitated. Emily wasn't just my best friend. She was family. We met when we were 8 years old after being paired together for a science project. Neither of us knew what we were doing, but somehow we built the tallest paper tower in the class. From that day on, we were inseparable. We survived middle school together. High school heartbreaks, college finals, our first jobs, the loss of grandparents, the excitement of engagements. Even our weddings were only 4 months apart. Everyone joked that we were more like sisters than friends. Honestly, they weren't wrong. So when Emily called me crying after seeing 2 pink lines on a pregnancy test, I cried with her. When she asked me to help organize her baby shower, I immediately said yes. Unfortunately, life had other plans. About a month before the party, my company scheduled an important conference that couldn't be moved. I apologized over and over, but Emily simply laughed. "Seriously, Hannah," she told me. "Just being there is enough." I believed her. Maybe that was my first mistake. On Saturday afternoon, Ethan and I drove to Emily's house carrying a handmade wooden cradle we had ordered from a local craftsman months earlier. The weather couldn't have been more beautiful. The sun was warm without being too hot. A gentle breeze carried the smell of fresh flowers across the neighborhood. Soft music floated through the backyard. Pink, white, and cream balloons swayed above neatly decorated tables. Children chased bubbles across the grass while adults laughed over glasses of lemonade. Everything looked like a scene from a magazine. Emily spotted us almost immediately. "There you are." She hurried toward me as quickly as her pregnant belly allowed. I wrapped my arms around her carefully. "You look amazing," I whispered. She laughed. "Feel like a whale. You look beautiful." She smiled, but something about that smile felt different. She held onto me for a few seconds longer than usual. When she finally stepped back, I noticed tiny dark circles beneath her eyes. "Are you okay?" I asked. She nodded too quickly. "Just tired." Before I could ask anything else, another guest called her name. "Be right back," she promised. She disappeared into the crowd. I watched her walk away. For reasons I couldn't explain, an uncomfortable feeling settled quietly in my stomach. The party continued exactly as baby showers usually do. People admired tiny baby clothes. Guests guessed the baby's birth date. Everyone laughed during silly games. Nothing seemed unusual. At least, not at first. The first strange moment happened while I was grabbing a slice of cake. 3 women stood beside the dessert table talking quietly. As I walked closer, every single one of them stopped speaking. One suddenly became fascinated by the cupcakes. Another smiled awkwardly. The third looked down at her phone. "Hi," I said cheerfully. "Hi." Their smiles looked forced. After an uncomfortable silence, I grabbed my dessert and walked away. Weird. Maybe I'd interrupted a private conversation. It happens. I didn't think much about it until it happened again, this time near the gift table. 2 of Emily's cousins were laughing together. The moment they noticed me approaching, both of them became silent. One whispered something to the other, then they smiled politely, too politely. I frowned. Had I done something wrong? I couldn't think of anything. Across the yard, Ethan stood quietly near the drink table. Unlike everyone else, he wasn't talking much. My husband has always been unusually observant. He notices things most people completely miss: body language, facial expressions, changes in tone, tiny details. Sometimes it feels almost creepy. I waved at him. He smiled back. But instead of returning to his conversation, he kept looking around the yard, watching people, studying them, almost like he was trying to solve a puzzle. About 30 minutes later, Emily finally found me again. "Hannah," she sounded nervous. "I actually wanted to—" "Emily," someone interrupted from across the yard. "Photographer needs you," she sighed. "Find you later." "No problem." She walked away again. I shrugged it off. Pregnant women hosting baby showers probably get interrupted every 5 minutes. Still, something about her expression stayed with me. As the afternoon continued, little moments began piling up. Conversations stopped whenever I joined them. People smiled. But their smiles disappeared the second I looked away. More than once, I caught strangers looking at me before quickly turning their heads. It wasn't hostile. It wasn't angry. It was Something else. I just couldn't figure out what. Round 4 o'clock, everyone gathered for gift opening. Emily sat in a beautiful white chair surrounded by colorful wrapping paper. She laughed as she opened tiny socks. She cried over handmade blankets. Everyone applauded after every gift from the outside. Everything looked perfect. Yet every few minutes I'd catch Emily glancing toward me, not smiling, not laughing, just looking, like she desperately wanted to tell me something. Each time she started walking toward me, someone stopped her, every single time. I finally made my way over. Emily, she looked relieved. Hannah, I need to. There you are, an older woman wrapped her arm around Emily's shoulder. The next game is about to start. Emily closed her eyes for a second. Come find you, she never did. I couldn't ignore the strange atmosphere. I walked over to Ethan. Can I ask you something? He looked at me carefully. Sure. Today feel weird to you? He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he glanced around the backyard. I was wondering when you'd notice. My stomach tightened. So I'm not imagining it? No. What is it? I don't know yet. That answer surprised me. Ethan usually had explanations for everything. Instead, he looked concerned. Been watching people since we arrived. And they keep watching you. I laughed nervously. Maybe my dress is inside out. He didn't laugh. Hannah, his voice became quieter. They aren't looking at you because of your dress. Before I could ask another question, Emily's mother announced another round of games. The conversation ended, but Ethan's expression didn't leave my mind. An hour later, guests began gathering near the front yard before saying their goodbyes. Emily was busy thanking everyone. I waited patiently, hoping we'd finally get a chance to talk. Instead, Ethan suddenly appeared beside me. His face had completely changed. He wasn't relaxed anymore. He looked serious, very serious. He leaned close enough that nobody else could hear. Hannah. What? We need to leave. I blinked. What now? I laughed softly. Kidding. I'm not. Emily. We'll call her later. Happened? I'll explain outside. His voice remained calm, too calm. That's what scared me. Without causing a scene, Ethan thanked Emily for inviting us. He congratulated her again. He apologized politely, saying an unexpected situation had come up. Emily looked directly into my eyes for just a moment. She looked relieved, not disappointed. Relieved, I couldn't understand why. We walked toward the driveway. As I glanced back one last time, something made my heart skip. Several guests weren't talking anymore. They were simply watching us leave, almost as if they had expected this moment. Ethan opened the passenger door. We climbed inside. The moment he started the engine, he locked every door. Silence filled the car. I turned toward him. Ethan. He rested both hands on the steering wheel before finally looking at me. His expression was gentle but worried. Hannah, you really didn't notice what everyone was trying so hard to hide from you. Did you? I stared at Ethan, waiting for him to explain. What are you talking about? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he backed the car out of the driveway and drove a few blocks before pulling into a quiet park. The sun was beginning to set, painting the sky with shades of orange and pink. Only then did he turn off the engine. Hannah, he said gently, I didn't want to say anything while we were still there because I wasn't completely sure. About what? That everyone in that backyard believed something terrible about you. My heart skipped a beat. What? He nodded slowly. Every time you walked toward a group, they stopped talking. They weren't surprised to see you. They were uncomfortable. I folded my arms across my chest. But why? I don't know. I searched my memory. Had I offended someone, forgotten an important event, ignored a message? Nothing made sense. Then my phone vibrated. Emily calling. I answered immediately. Was silence for a moment. Hannah. She sounded like she'd been crying. I'm so sorry. For what? Can we meet tomorrow morning? Just the two of us. My stomach tightened. Emily, what's going on? I can't explain over the phone. Please. I promise I'll tell you everything tomorrow. She hung up. I looked at Ethan. I think she knows. He nodded. So do I. That night, I barely slept. Every strange moment from the baby's shower replayed in my head. The awkward smiles, the whispers, the interrupted conversations, Emily's worried eyes, the way everyone watched us leave. For the first time in years, I questioned whether I truly knew the people I had called friends. The next morning, I arrived at our favorite coffee shop 15 minutes early. Emily was already there. She looked exhausted. Her eyes were red. The untouched coffee in front of her had gone cold. The moment she saw me, she stood up. I'm so sorry. I didn't hug her, not yet. I need answers. She nodded. You deserve them. We sat down. For several seconds, neither of us spoke. Finally, she took a deep breath. About 3 weeks ago, someone started telling people something about you. I frowned. What? They said you told several friends the baby shower was a waste of money. I stared at her. They said you only planned to come because you didn't want people talking behind your back. I blinked. What? Emily looked down. They also said you complained about buying an expensive gift. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Never said any of that. I know. Then why did anyone believe it? Emily swallowed hard. Because the person telling the story sounded convincing. I felt like the room had gone silent. Who? Emily hesitated. I don't know if I should tell you. Emily, I need to know. She closed her eyes. It was Melissa. Name hit me immediately, Melissa Grant, one of Emily's newer friends from a local parenting class. I'd only met her twice. She'd always been friendly, or at least I thought she had. Why would she do that? Emily shook her head. Honestly, don't know. We talked. Little pieces of the puzzle slowly began falling into place. Months earlier, Emily had asked if I could spend a Saturday helping decorate for the shower. Unfortunately, that was the same weekend as my company's leadership conference. I'd texted her. I'm so sorry. Work has me completely tied up. I hate missing it, but I'll make it up to you when I get back. Emily smiled sadly. I remember. So how did that become? She interrupted quietly. Melissa told people you said work was more important than celebrating my baby. I stared at her in disbelief. That's not even close. I know. Emily reached into her purse. Want to show you something? She handed me her phone. Inside a group chat were dozens of messages. Some people questioned whether I had changed. Others wondered why I'd become so selfish. One message hurt more than all the others. Success changes people. Another read. Emily deserves friends who actually support her. I felt tears burning behind my eyes, not because strangers believed lies, because people I'd known for years never asked me if any of it was true. Emily looked miserable. I tried correcting them. So why didn't you call me? I thought I could stop it myself. Couldn't. I know, she wiped away a tear. And by the time I realized how bad it had become, was too late, she nodded. I was afraid. I finally reached across the table and held her hand. I'm hurt. I know. I'm not angry with you. Fresh tears rolled down her cheeks. I'm angry at the silence. She looked confused. What do you mean? I mean every single person there had my phone number. Emily lowered her head. They did. One of them called. Not one. We sat quietly for a long moment, then Emily whispered, I want to fix this. I looked into her eyes. So do I. That afternoon, Emily invited 6 of our closest friends to her house. No decorations, no games, no gifts, just conversation. Everyone arrived looking uncomfortable. Some avoided eye contact, others barely spoke. Melissa arrived last. She smiled as though nothing had happened. Seeing her made my stomach tighten. Emily stood in the center of the living room. Before anyone says anything, she began, there's something everyone needs to hear. Room became silent. She looked directly at me. Hannah never refused to help with my baby shower. Several people exchanged nervous glances. Emily continued. She never complained about buying a gift. More silence. She never said my baby's shower was a waste of money. Melissa suddenly shifted in her chair. Emily took out her phone. I still have every text message. She handed the phone around the room. One by one, everyone read my actual messages. The truth was impossible to deny. I had apologized. I had offered to help after returning from my work trip. I had even ordered one of the most expensive gifts months in advance. Nothing matched the rumors. Absolutely nothing. When the phone finally reached Melissa, her confident smile disappeared. The room slowly turned toward her. No one said a word. The silence spoke louder than any accusation. Melissa looked down at the screen, then quietly whispered, I think. This is all one big misunderstanding. As Ethan and I drove home, he reached over and held my hand. You know, he said softly, the truth always finds its way. I smiled. So does real friendship. A single rumor had almost destroyed a friendship that had lasted over 25 years. But in the end, honesty was stronger than gossip. That day taught me something I'll never forget. Never judge someone based on what you've heard. Ask them. Listen to them. Because one honest conversation can save a relationship that years of silence might destroy. And sometimes, the people who truly love us don't just stand beside us. They help us see the truth when everyone else is looking away. The end.